I do believe there's one chart that all Bitcoin investors should be looking at. All right, now as for some positive news outside of just contagion news, we got this. All right, so this is about the easiest chart you can read. Basically, I need to move my thing over. Let's see if I can move it over here. There we go. There we go. That looks better. I mean, this is clear as day, right? If you're looking at it like this, there is a strong trend line that has existed for about 6 years, going all the way back to 2017. And you can see every drop we had since 2017 till now has been to this trend line. Right? And has not broken. I mean, in 2020, we did fall a little bit below, but ultimately, Bitcoin held, right? So this is an important chart. This trend line has held for 6 years now. And so far in 2022, in 2023, we are still there. But why is this important? Well, because just look at what happens afterwards every single time Bitcoin stays at the trend line. What happens afterwards, right? A tremendous run up, a great recovery, an exponential move, right? This is why Bitcoin holders, Bitcoin investors, people that are in the space should not be giving up. If you held through 2022, which arguably was the worst drop in Bitcoin's history, 4 consecutive quarters of negative gains. Bitcoin has never seen that in a single year. Never, ever. So if you withstood 2022, which arguably is the worst year ever for Bitcoin, well, why would you be giving up now in 2023? It makes no sense, right? So this is very encouraging, what we could look forward to in 2023 as we head into the next halving event in 2024. And after that, beyond that, 2025, which will give us some tremendous gains if we're following the previous cycles, right? Right now, also, volatility is kind of low, but strangely enough, gold is actually starting to rise a little bit, right? Gold, the very first store value, has been pretty stagnant for the last 12 years. So recently, it's been coming up a little bit. And of course, you got the gold bugs cheering like Peter Schiff's like, yeah, look at gold. Gold is moving, right? But if you stretch it out, you zoom out, you realize, well, gold has not been moving. But many people, equate that since gold is going up and commodities are going up, well, Bitcoin's next, right? And you can see here, our drawdown, again, going back to what has happened in previous cycles, you look at our drawdowns have been getting less severe. So we had a 94% drawdown in 2012, 86 in 2015, 84 in 2018, and in 2022, 2023, we had about a 78% drawdown, right? So the gold bugs will say, well, look at this, especially Peter, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about to go to zero, right? After every single drop, he claims the same thing. Gold bugs will claim Bitcoin is not a store of value, but they ignore the fact that Bitcoin, after these drops, go up thousands and thousands and thousands of percent, which is why if you go back to the last 12 years, nothing, no asset, no investment on the planet has outperformed Bitcoin, and it's not even close. Not even close. So, also, very encouraging. Why we need to all stay strong, really. And here's the last thing I want to show you guys. BTC percent supply last active 2+ years. Okay, skyrocketing right now. About 47%, almost 48%. 48%. That's a lot. That's a lot. Nearly 50% of all holders has held for 2 years, basically. That's what it's saying. No, I take that back. The percent of all Bitcoin, nearly 50% being held for 2 years. That's what I meant to say. That's a lot if you think about it. Close to 50% is being held. And also, just to kind of give you guys more encouragement, despite the fact that 2022 has been so rough, so bad, right? We are still trending upwards. We're forming new highs and new lows, okay? New higher lows. I'm messing up this morning. New higher lows, okay? So what does that mean? Well, despite the fact that we're at 16,700, it's important to remember that we are still 60 times higher than the 2014 low and 5 times higher than 2018 low. Okay, keep in mind, 2018 bottom, we saw Bitcoin hit 3,000. So if you think 16,700 seems bad, just keep in mind, not too long ago, we were just at 3,000. Even in March of 2020, when we had a flash drop, Bitcoin fell to $4,000. So we're still 5 times higher than 2018 and 4 times higher than 2020, okay? And for those that have been spreading FUD about Ethereum, keep in mind Ethereum is still up 14 times since 2018 low. Despite falling about 70% last year, it's still 14 times higher than before. I remember in 2018 and in 2020, ETH fell below $100. Yes, $100. In 2018, I believe it fell as low as like 80 something dollars. In 2020, I think it was like 90 something dollars it fell to, right? So if you think ETH has lost all gains, well, you're sorely mistaken, because it is still up 14x since 2018, right? So this is the best way to look at it. Even though we have our up and downs, we still have major crashes. We still have bad actors in this space. But overall, Bitcoin and crypto is still trending upwards, getting stronger with every cycle, and we're forming new higher highs and higher lows with every cycle too. And this is why we stay in the game. Last two things, Lightning Network is expanding as well. Lightning Network, the capacity, the liquidity is growing by leaps and bounds. And now we'll have Bitcoin ATMs utilizing Lightning Network so that it becomes much cheaper and makes a lot more sense, because a lot of these ATMs, the spreads on the buys and sells are so off. Mostly because I think they're afraid that the price changes too much within a 10-minute span, right? But with the Lightning Network, almost everything is processed instantaneously, so you don't have to worry about that. So hopefully, this makes Bitcoin ATMs a lot more useful. I've been seeing a lot more Bitcoin ATMs around the nation, especially when I'm just looking at, shopping at malls and stuff like that. I see them all the time, but I don't see anyone using them. And hopefully they will in the future. Then lastly, as for SushiSwap, a lot of you guys do use SushiSwap. I wasn't even aware they had 2 other products. One is an incubator and one is a lending product. So they will be shutting down both to just concentrate on their DEX. Nothing wrong with that. We do know that some of the macro stuff is getting a little better, just slightly. Germany inflation eases. A lot of the inflation reports out of Europe is getting slightly better, just like the U.S. Inflation is coming down. But we will know for sure in a couple weeks, because we'll get another CPI data read. Then we'll know for sure if if inflation is really coming down, because if it does, that means there's 3 straight months, and that's no longer a coincidence, right? So that's going to make Powell a lot more dovish. But around the world, we're seeing this. We're seeing inflation easing a little bit, but there's still turmoil, still geopolitical stuff we have to worry about. But right now, it does seem like things are getting slightly better, or you could argue slightly less worse, if that makes sense. All right, what else is going on this morning? Tesla is getting hammered once again, down 6%, because they came out with delivery numbers for Q4 yesterday and then came below expectations. So that's why they are getting hammered right now. And also something else that's happening, and this may set the path in terms of getting a replacement for Elon at Tesla, is this. So the head guy of Tesla China, Tom Zhu, is now promoted, and he is going to be the highest executive right behind Elon. So he's no longer just taking direct oversight of China, but of all regions, North America and Europe now too. So he will be the one that will be over looking at all the deliveries and builds and everything else and the supply chain stuff. He's basically going to do all the day-to-day stuff, like basically like a COO, or you could even say interim CEO, while Elon concentrates on new designs and technology and stuff like that. But many people think this is only happening because Elon himself is too distracted right now at Twitter. So he doesn't have enough time to be paying attention to day-to-day stuff at Tesla now. So this also, I don't know how people will feel about this promotion, whether or not that makes it worse for Tesla going forward, that Elon is no longer worried about kind of the day-to-day stuff, or will investors think this is a good thing, so Elon could be more like the creative guy, right, rather than be the CEO, which he has always stated he doesn't want to be CEO. He only has, he does it because no one else is stupid enough to do it. That's what he said. So we'll see what this, how investors digest this news. But right now, Tesla, again, is getting hammered at 115, another 52-week low. What else is going on today? Well, today, our favorite crypto villain, SBF, is going to plea, and most likely he's going to plead not guilty. And someone in my live chat has said this is what is always done. Even if he does want to plea, he's going to say not guilty. He's not just going to say guilty right off the bat. He's going to say not guilty and then try to plea a lighter sentence with the prosecutor, something like that. Okay, kind of like what you see on Law and Order, although I have not watched that show in like 10 years. But this is also happening. But besides this drama, we know that there's a lot of drama with Genesis, DCG, Gemini, right? And, of course, you got to throw Three Arrows Capital in there. And Zhu Su of Three Arrows Capital recently has been throwing a lot of blame at FTX. Now he's throwing it at Genesis and basically trying to say that Three Arrows Capital was innocent. He was innocent. That everyone is at fault. FTX, look at this. DCG conspired with FTX to attack Luda and STETH, right? And then they took a substantial loss from our bankruptcy as well as Babel, right? They could have restructured then, and then he goes on and on and on. And basically this whole conspiracy thing about how FTX and DCG, they committed fraud, they colluded with each other and brought everything down and this and that. But, crypto Twitter, they're smarter than this. So everyone is basically saying, this sums it up real well right here. Rough summary of Three Arrows Capital. Still on the run, still being liquidated, still everyone's fault. I mean, that's a really good summary of basically what Zhu Su said, right? He's in a position right now. Authorities are looking for him. They don't know where he is. So he's definitely on a run. And now he thinks it's somehow going to make it better or what by diverting blame to everyone else except himself and his firm that collapsed, right? Keep in mind that Genesis or DCG lost about $1.2 billion because of Three Arrows collapse, right? So this whole theory about DCG actually helping to kind of take themselves down doesn't quite make a lot of sense. It could have happened, right? It could have happened, but still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyways, so there's that. The drama is still ongoing. Not that Three Arrows Capital could be saved, but let's see if DCG can save Genesis, because we don't want another contagion to happen, because DCG is absolutely huge. Huge, way bigger than FTX. We don't want to see another collapse and another contagion spread, right? So there's that.